Hi Taurus, here is a general look at your solar chart for December 2015 and January 2016. But before I go there, I just want to share some astro thoughts with you. Now that last month I was mentioning the Saturn-Neptune transit, how it's affecting us over November, December, and also popping up again at times in 2016. I also mentioned the Uranus-Pluto transit, and I just want to say something else about that now. These two, of course, are behind the general change, meltdown in some cases, huge radical change going on across the globe, culturally, economically, socially, to do with belief systems as well, especially now that Saturn has come into Sagittarius. I'll be saying more about that in the stars for 2016, which are coming out very shortly now. I just want to mention in the first half of December we have Mars in challenging aspect to Uranus. Pluto Mars can be a little bit of a trigger for these two, and tensions that are pushed down beneath the surface inherent in the Uranus-Pluto aspect will emerge, will get pushed up, like tectonic plates kind of buckling and crunching against each other, and then explosions of sort of like, the tension or the volcanic eruptions, and of course it's for a fleeting time. It's just over the first half of December. Every time Mars comes around into a cardinal sign, the same thing's going to happen, has done in 2015, will do in 2016, and of course in 2014 and 2017, because the Uranus-Pluto transit, even though it's no longer exact, is going to rumble on for a few more years, and we will see the effects globally of this. And those of us who have been on the planet a long time can really see the distinct and marked changes going on, and just how things are run, and not only that, but how the general tone of the way humans are one with one another, coming more from the mental side, the intellectual side, and far less from the heart side, because of course through the internet and through texting and blogging, and we are using our left brain a huge amount more than just meeting people down the pub. So anyway, that's a whole other subject. I just want to mention Mars coming onto here, triggering these two, might be minor in your life, but I'm just looking at the global sort of situation here. The tension build up could, is always looking like a pressure cooker for a way of release. So this could bring out the harsher side, the manipulative, controlling, unscrupulous side, particularly when Mars and Pluto get together. There's usually sort of underhand dealings going on. Or if it doesn't feel like that, then it can just feel like that one has got one's arm twisted up behind one's back because of some kind of emotional blackmail. Now, of course, we can bring these things on ourselves as well, feeling conscientious and obliged, etc. But just want you to be aware of that. So going back to the worldwide sort of influence of this, you can get an idea by the way of where these are in your natal chart, if you have it, by seeing which house they are in and then looking it up online. There's a plethora of information now online for everything to do with astrology, so just find it online. I'm going to tell you where they are in your sun sign forecast a little bit in a few minutes. So the global effects will involve, again, the banks, the governments, the financial property markets, the establishment, the status quo, and of course there's many in these sorts of positions that don't want the power base to shift, and they are in the habit of steamrolling over our universal freedoms. And of course the internet's going to come up as well, in this sort of way, as well as maybe radio and TV, because of Saturn being in the communication sign as Sagittarius. But so one side will tend to feel sort of outraged and victimized, and the other will seem, that they will they will not have a conscience. They will see it as their inalienable right to do these things, and will seem quite ruthless and only concerned with maintaining the control that they are used to, because they're trying to balance the books, or they just see it as they know better. And then on the flip side, energy levels can be very, very high with Mars Pluto, I have to say. So in your personal life, if you do have a mountain to climb, if you have a fight on your hands, then under this transit, much can be achieved, and you will possibly win as well, because even though Mars is in a contentious sort of angle with Pluto, it's a sort of energy that you need, which is very stubborn, and it's energy that will dig its heels in and help you. It depends on where Mars Pluto, of course, is in your chart. So for some people this will be minor, for others, and then you'll notice people around you that you know are getting it more strongly because of the degrees. It's always to do with the degrees of these things on a planet or on an important point in the chart. But you'll probably win, and but you won't be able to do that without modifying something along the way, without maybe letting go of something and compromising along the way. And you'll have to be canny and intuitive, listen to that gut knowing, as the powers that be, or the controlling faction, whether that's, bosses, teachers, parents, or something even bigger than that, circumstances beyond your control, can feel like it's beyond your ability to do anything about. But this is a great aspect for getting to the bottom of things, digging out the rot, and doing that in whatever way necessary, and then to regenerate, starting with whatever is left to build upon, whether that's in your private life or in across the globe in a bigger sort of a way. And instead of coming from ego, a fear-based mentality, and this is a big ask, because we are in a time of opportunity to shift into a much more expanded, advanced level of consciousness, and this is our invitation. This, we're still in this in this turning point time, and before the whole thing shuts down, if we can't sort of step up to the plate in some way and do things in a more compassionate, refined, elegant sort of way, instead of just shouting and screaming and shooting at each other, then we're going to end up right back where we were before, and then we have got to wait another few thousand years for the other opportunity, the next opportunity to come round again, and that is related to the galactic center. So just thought I'd mention that. And now for the rest of the forecast period until the 22nd, the Sun and Mercury are both in quite a deep area. It's quite a sensitive area of your solar chart, and discussions, ideas, research can be strategic. You're finding stuff out, you're getting to the bottom line on something. There could be more paperwork involved with this, or rethinking related to previous conditions or a previous setup. And this is a transition area, it's a gear change area, so whatever you're coming up against with your feelings, you'd have to listen to your instincts, listen to your intuition, because you will be graduating to the next sort of stage of the journey, as it were. And this also might have you thinking more and talking more and discussing more, doing more paperwork around finances, joint finances, what you share with another, or what you are obliged to another for, or whose endorsement you need before you can make any sorts of decisions. It's also the area to do with legacies and inheritances as well. Mercury moves out of there on the 10th and then goes into a more outgoing area where you'll be entertaining options outside of the box, even though the Sun is still in this quite hidden, quite more sensitive, more emotional area. Mercury moving out of there on the 10th means you tend to start thinking bigger. You get the little sort of missing bits of the puzzle. Maybe you're just gathering information. Maybe you're connecting with those further afield. Maybe you are connecting with those who are specialists or experts. And this is the time for you to get the word out about something of your own as well. And then Venus is just for the first 5 days in quite a practical mood. She's connecting socially, maybe with service providers or health providers. You're getting on with these sorts of people reasonably well, and providing assistance yourself a little bit more, having to be more practical in the way you interact in a friendly way, or teaming up with another. And then from the 5th, Venus is very strong in her favorite, one of her favorite places, and Venus, of course, is your ruling planet. So this bodes well for affairs of the heart. This can give you quite a boost there, and you and someone could be feeling a closer rapport, or maybe it's a professional association. And again, Venus tends to oil the wheels, and also can be quite lucrative, bring goodies towards you financially or other sorts of resources through your association with another. So, maybe they're giving you a recommendation, or working with you in some way, or you are working with them, So it can be a series of single sort of one-to-one sort of interactions as well. And then Mars is in a sector which emphasizes the practical side of any bright ideas all month long. So there's this practical theme running through the whole of December. And you are considering maybe how to do things, manage things, organize things, maintain things, fix things. Maybe it's more to do with the health side, or maybe not. Your own, somebody else's. So daily duties, practices, therapies, sort of maintenance orientated feel, and you've got to get your act together. But sometimes you can feel a bit impatient with others. With wherever Mars goes, there is always that chance that we get a bit impatient with somebody else. But you can get a lot done if you just keep your cool and push through. And it's a small price to pay. And then the Sun moves on the 22nd, going into a more outgoing, expansive area. So coming out of that very inward, introspective, rather sensitive area, and then pulling out of there and going into a more extrovert sort of area. Time for you to launch into new things, blow away the cobwebs, make plans, gather together your facts, connect with others, communicate with others, and try new things, really. And then this brings us into January 2016, and the Sun will be in that place, that more extrovert sort of place, until the 21st. And as the month of January kicks off, Mercury is going to be at the top of your chart, and giving you the Mercury is going to be at the top of your chart. So giving you the opportunity to liaise with others for their information. Maybe again maybe the bureaucratic side, the officials. Maybe there's more paperwork there to do. Maybe there's more correspondence, interaction with those sorts of people that are in so-called authority in your life. And then, but just bear in mind, Mercury does go retrograde between the 5th and the 25th, so that if you follow the astrology, you know that might mean hold-ups and delays, maybe cross wires, people getting the wrong end of the stick, perhaps. You just got to be more careful and clear in the way you communicate, and also careful about how well you are listening and focusing on what is actually being said, instead of what you just assumed was said or is being said, which of course we tend to do a lot, don't we? And this is when, though, it might come back to bite you. So just be aware of that. And then also Venus has moved into a deeper sort of area. She did that in the very end of December. So in January she moves into an area where you can really have sort of deeper connection with others, feel touched by others in your life, and they also can feel that way about you as well. And so it can be quite a sizzly place actually for Venus to be, if you were at that stage in your life, but also it can be a place where you feel more emotionally secure as well. So that's a good thing. And then Venus moves out of there just right in the very last 6 days into the same sort of outgoing kind of area that the Sun was in until the 22nd, but that keeps up that sort of theme of a nice balance between, you know, the sort of inner feelings in the inner life and the outward expression of that. And then the slower moving outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto, they stay in the same houses, so they'll be the same for December and January. Saturn is now in your 8th house long term over the next 2 years, meaning that you will be slowly adapting to a new perspective, because certain conditions or maybe contracts that you had long running in your life previously, they have come to an end, and there can be a sense of lack there, maybe emotionally sometimes, or maybe just that there's certain things within your current setup that are lacking. And so you will be reaching out to something which is healthier, happier and more fulfilling for you. And that can be in relationships, but that can also be to do with the financial side, and also property, and any sort of jointly held resources or experience or history or just interests that you have. And you Taurians born the 25th of April to the 2nd of May, always 6 to 12 degrees rising, are going to feel that the most in December. And then those of you born the 1st to the 5th of May, or 11 to 15 degrees rising, are going to feel that most in January. Now Jupiter, which doesn't move very much between December and January, is in a great angle to your sun sign until next September, Taurus. And that means that it's a time when you will tend to start feeling more appreciated for yourself. Maybe there's admiring glances coming your way. You can find yourself in more entertaining or playful environments, and at times it will encourage a more spontaneous, maybe sometimes self-indulgent energy, so don't burn the candle at both ends. But it's great for new enterprises. It's great for connections with children and activities which bring out the inner child in you as well, but also speculative activities also for some of you. You Taurians born the 10th to the 14th of May, or with 20 to 24 degrees rising, and feel that the most over December and January. And then, of course, I have to mention Uranus, which has been for a long time in your 12th house, the sign before yours. You can look this one up as well, but basically, in a nutshell, there could be sudden revelations that come your way which eluded you previously because you were totally unaware that these underlying factors or patterns existed. And it can be a bit of a wake-up call, really. And then Pluto going for a long time through your 9th house, nothing to be frightened of there, because that's putting Pluto into a great angle with your sun sign. But again, your views, which you thought were written in stone, are likely to be really, really radically changing over this very, very long gradual transit, and connecting also with different cultures, different belief systems, and you know, going to distant places or connecting with different places as well. Yes, so that can really be quite a game changer there, that position of Pluto. And that's it for January 2015, December 2015 and January 2016. I'm getting ahead of myself there. And also the stars for the whole of 2016 will be out very shortly. You'll find them written on my website, and also I'll say them on video. And then, of course, we're coming up to the festive season, so I hope you have fun and a lovely time is had by all gathered around you during that time of the year. And if you want to check out any of this material, it's written up on my website, the basics of it, at DianaGarland.com. And listen to your moon sign or your rising sign if you want even more information and different sort of just fleshing the whole thing out a little bit more. And just pluck out the bits that make sense to you and disregard the rest. And I'll see you the next time.